Привіт! I'm Chuck Olenek, a Ukrainian-American baptized with the name Yaroslav. That's also the name I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism, where I'm known as Yaroslav the Persistent. I've been putting together videos on Slavic mythology and folklore and history and Slavic culture or Eastern European stuff. And I didn't think I'd ever be talking about frogs, but as I research things, I tend to stumble into stuff, and I thought I'd follow this thread. So, this is all about Slavic frog folklore. In Slavic folklore, frogs and toads often represent liminal creatures. They're entities often in fiction and in folklore that exist in a transitional state or maybe an ambiguous state between two or more categories. So they're not fully one thing or another, but rather in between. Think teenager between child and adult. Think hybrids, shapeshifters, creatures that straddle that divide between animal and human. Frogs, however, they're going to live in between the realms of land and water, and they're associated with magic, both positive and negative magic. They can symbolize witchcraft, they can symbolize love potions, and even protect against magic. Being associated with living in between the realms of land and water brings them into association with Veles or Volos, who is, amongst his many tasks, Lord of the Underworld, and resides at the base of the World Tree, and the Underworld is considered a very damp realm. Frogs were also believed to carry rain in their throats. To harm one was to offend the sky itself. A frog near the peach or oven meant that the domovik or domovoi was near. He was the household spirit who lived in the peach. He would be checking on the peace of the household since it was his job to protect the family. He would also be searching for his favorite foods, which were to be left out for him. If those foods were lacking, this would put him in a foul mood and things could be broken. So the appearance of a frog, or even the sound of a frog near the peach, ought to be considered a warning to the household. Play nice with each other. Make sure that his favorite foods are out there for what's often referred to as the grandfather or the little fellow. You never refer to the domovik as the domovik, otherwise bad things happen. Now, more frog stuff. If you spit near a frog, that's considered a really grave offense. From what I read, your tongue is supposed to be cursed for 9 days. That was very specific, although the manner of curse, of whether you're speechless or not, that wasn't made clear. Witches were said to keep toads, so I guess we're not really distinguishing between frogs and toads, and this isn't the place for it anyway. In clay pots, these weren't to be used for curses, but for counsel instead. Hey, if they're connected with Veles, then there's a connection with the underworld and the land of the dead, and the toads would whisper secrets from that realm. Here we got a contradiction. But that's not very unusual when you're looking at Slavic mythology and folklore, considering how big an area is being covered and how many different languages are being spoken. There's just a lot of contradictions here. So here we go. In some tales, such as the Frog Princess, a princess named Vasilisa the Wise is transformed into a frog as a punishment. I'll tell that story another time. And so while you get the punishment stories like what happened to Vasilisa the Wise, in other stories, princesses became frogs, not as a punishment, but as a way to protect them. For the swamp keeps secrets better than a throne, I suppose. Now, guarding princesses, that's one thing. But toads also guarded treasures. blinking slowly over ancient gold that no man dared touch. Don't go after that stuff, leave it alone. Frogs were sometimes associated with the Vodyanik or Vodyanoi, a malevolent male water spirit who would often drag the unsuspecting to their doom and who accepted sacrifices from fishermen, millers, and beekeepers. Others he would enslave and carry away. All right, I got one last bit of advice that I came across on Slavic frogs and toads, because again, we're not really distinguishing between them, is that if one shows up near you and it won't leave you alone, don't try to chase it away. All right, I know they're creepy. I had one stuck in a mug once that was handed to me. That creeped me out, so I'm not really fond of them. A frog or a toad that won't leave you alone is carrying a message for you. You're not supposed to ask, hey, who's the message from? Just listen. Okay. That's it on frogs and toads until sometime I get to the story of Vasilisa the Wise. Until the next time, do побачення.